We are live
We're
whores.
live whores. What's tea? Is you there, bitch?
It's your group. It's your duo. Reynateas coming at you guys for the live. Today we have a really cool story time for you guys. All you wanna be goetic workers out there, and when I say wanna be, I'm not like trying to come at it sideways. It's just definitely exploring that lane, working with these different entities. I'm telling you, these entities on some real like down to earth shit, they are very strong in their personalities. A lot of them are very set in their personalities, and um they have their means of what you see something.
Another bug.
Oh, here, bitch. They have their means of communication, expression, energy, vibration, sigils, all types of things, right? And when you get to know them, when you get to sense them on a level that isn't on the five senses tangible, like I know I can pick up on biokinetic energy here. I know I can pick up on biokinetic energy. Um, I definitely have a clear sentient, clear senses, heightened awareness. Okay, bitch, when you been in the game and you're just kind of born that way as well. I feel like I feel like we've always had that.
Mm-hmm.
These spirits will come through and they will interact with you because real kind of like recognizes. So tonight we talking about
The kind.
King King Paimon. So go ahead, Raina. Why don't you kick this off? I'm like shuffling cards. I like that's very therapeutic for me to kind of have like my deck in my hand
Yeah,
and shuffle the cards.
absolutely. Well, Paimon and I, we began working together back in 2011. Okay, and this was when I was in university, and I was having an issue with certain people at the top, certain board members, certain instructors who were set out to destroy me. I mean, these people were set out to try to hinder me from progressing in school. They were trying to stop me from graduating. They wanted me to repeat classes to take things over. Um, because of their lack of mentoring and instructing. Okay, these people were not good teachers. They were not good attacking me. They were coming for me
Very
because
seven of wands,
because of
bitch.
my personality. I feel like they thought I was an easy target. They thought I was somebody who you could step on, somebody who you could just throw to the side
Very seven of
and
wands.
abuse because
Mm-hmm.
I looked nice and just very like an innocent type of face, an innocent type of person. Like, oh, he he like okay. I'll give you guys a story. So what prompted even me to even contact Paimon was that these instructors, led by this one woman who we'll call Stacy, and you know what? Let's just give it the real fucking name, Rachel, honey, Rachel, bitch. That hoe was after me. Okay, so here's the tea. So there's a thing called in the university. It was called portfolio prep, where you basically have to prepare the portfolio. You have like these 7 or 8 mock-up like websites, posters, billboards, different things for graphics showing the visual. Okay, and when you got to a certain point, let's say the second or third year, that's when they let you know via a billboard on the wall, or a paper on the wall, basically, where they have like all the college student shit going on the wall. That board right there, there's a fucking paper that says portfolio prep is this day. You need to have 7 to 8 things in your portfolio, blah 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 blah, right? That's all you fucking get. So I did not know if we could use pictures from the internet. Okay, so what I did is I illustrated everything. I illustrated the billboards. I illustrated the album covers. I illustrated the posters.
You
Okay,
gave these
I
girls
drew
work,
all of
honey.
it, and even in the websites where there was a fucking thumbnail with a person, bitch, I drew the motherfucking outline of the person with the goddamn tie and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I did not know if we could use the pictures. So when, I hand over my portfolio and these motherfuckers see this shit, they're appalled. Especially Rachel, honey. She's like, I know when she saw this, like, I gotta tell everybody. So the next day, because they were gonna review it with us, so we turned over the portfolios, my class, and I don't remember exactly how many days later, we were gonna go speak to the people. So I was in Rachel's class. So I was, she was teaching, and she's also, I guess, a board member or one of the Illuminati when it comes to
Yes. That department.
that department. So we walked downstairs, to the whole, office section or whatever. And when people are getting interviewed, they go into the room or whatever, and it's usually 2 or 3 instructors that go with them at a time. As far as like one person, 2 or 3 instructors. Okay, so when I presume it's my turn, I see 7 and 8 motherfuckers walking to the office, and I was like, you know what? That's for me right there. I knew that was for me, and I told the person, I was like, that's gonna be for me right there. And guess what? It was. So when I went in there, they basically were telling me, like,
She's giving rain teas. Let me see. She's
I mean,
giving
they could
rain
still
teas.
hear us.
Of
Yeah.
course, bitch. They're good.
So when I sat there, they were kind of giving me, the story of like, how this looks, and the lack of images and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, but basically you guys didn't tell me. So Rachel was basically saying like, oh, I wish you were an asshole, because this would be so much easier to do. As far as like, gang up on me, how they were doing, because I guess they thought 7 or 8 motherfuckers, it's like it didn't have to take all the damn people to get the point across. You know what I'm saying? It's like they were trying to like intimidate me, basically. Had the whole fucking company there, the whole motherfucking like, it's like goddamn. So Linda, which was a bitch that was the department head, basically was telling me like, oh, we're gonna have you retake the classes. And I was like, what? Like, I paid all, you pay like 2 or 3 thousand. Okay, the loans, Sally Mae. Okay, those girls are paying 2 or 3 stacks a semester. So I was like, no, ma'am.
So give the girls when Paimon
So
interjected.
yes, so at this point, Linda Wood told me, we're having a meeting tomorrow, you and I, because we need to talk about your classes and you retaking these classes. So I was like, oh yeah? So I went and I found Paimon in some grimoire, some book of dark workings. And Paimon, he can control the minds of people to your will, okay? So I called on him, and if I'm not mistaken, I used a black mirror to call him. And I told him my situation. And I also drew his sigil, that too. And I drew his sigil, I put it in my wallet. And when I went to meet her, she didn't even bring it up. She didn't even bring anything up about, like, I basically controlled the entire narrative of the conversation. And I told her, like, look, I understand now. I know that we can use pictures from I did not know that you guys didn't communicate it with me, so it's gonna, So he definitely came through for that first instance. And I left there smiling. All I kept on saying was Paimon, as I went to like the elevator, just leave. I was like, wow, Paimon, Paimon, Paimon. Like, we're good now. That's what I was thinking at that point. Like, okay,
Yes.
okay,
I
you
see
know.
you.
So, Raina, so tell me your first time with Paimon.
My first time with Paimon was initially around the time of first getting into Goetic magic. Okay, I was like deeply in love with this motherfucker. Okay, yes. The bitch that tells you about these boys on this channel, she was about that life. So that's why I'm telling you. I was in love with this person who was emotionally unavailable, okay? To the point that there wasn't even a drive, open narrative to be discussed about a potential relationship with he and I. But I felt that this person was my soulmate. I recognized this person possibly from another life, like just from another, something compelled me to this person. It was like beyond their physical appeal. It was something also damaged about them that I wanted to help and nurture. I felt at that point I was willing to sacrifice myself to try to be at least the presence, the pinnacle the like turning and finding a way out of their particular situation that they were in at the time. And you know, I was like, bitch, I have to reach this person. Like, it was just something that compelled me so deeply to reach this person through a method of love. Okay. And I was, like I say, initially getting into the goetic, the girls, what they were about. And did I talk to you about it first? Did I like ask you? I think we were like on the same frequencies of the goetic,
Yeah.
those guys that we were working with at the same season.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in, I found him through the Goetia workings, honey, the chapters. And it's like once I start with the basic definition, then I go looking and searching of other people's experiences working with that entity and different, you know, as much writing as I can, because what preparatory immersion is kind of like familiarizing yourself with their frequency. A lot of times some entities, they're just not going to align with you, and you have to be psychically attuned. You have to be aware that you can pick up on that and feel it, because if you succumb to like the paranoia of or stereotype, like, oh, am I gonna get haunted and all this fucking shit, like you're gonna fall into that trap of not really allowing yourself to go through the experience of working with these beings, because they are real, and they give you presence and they give you workings when called upon. So I called him. I went through a period of preparatory immersion, honey. I was deep into that magic, honey.
Yes.
I was deep into that magic. And my sister here, she was here for all that. Okay? And I called Paimon. I did a ritual on my floor. I called Paimon. It wasn't the best ritual either. It wasn't like to the book, to the letter, circle on all this shit, fancy a theme and all that. No, it was me and some motherfucking candles on my floor in my room,
Yes.
calling these girls through the aether. And that's it. The magic doesn't have to be that complicated. It's about you are the
Mm-hmm.
conduit. Okay, you're the one opening these motherfucking portals and having these beings come
Yes.
through in the back of your noggin, honey.
Hello.
So, Paimon came through in the ritual. His presence was so strong. It was to the point that I'll never forget the last thing, and I said this as I was in that moment. I was falling asleep when I saw the sign, the omen, and I was like, I should get up and take a picture of this, but I didn't even want to. That moment was for me. But anyway, call King Paimon. He came through. He said, like, I'm gonna do this, but like, he told me at the time, you really don't even need to be involving yourself with this. You can do so much more. This is so petty. And that's how real they can sometimes be. Like, they'll tell you, like, I'll do the shit. Okay, I'll come through for this working, but like, this really ain't you, or this really isn't for you. And that's what he said. But I did it anyway. I did the working anyway. I was like, yes, we're gonna turn this bitch out. Honey, I went full throttle, leaving potions on the nigga's clothing, you know spells, pictures, okay, like all of it. And it's like Raina said, like he can control the mind of anyone. But in that particular situation, I'm gonna give you some realty about that type of magic. Free will is a lot stronger than sometimes even the most powerful. But it's not to say it's impossible to do. Okay? It just requires a lot more work than I feel like sometimes some of these motherfuckers are even worth. But you work with the spirit and they give results. Okay? It's a transaction. Magic working with goetic spirits is like transaction, and not everything is again, not saying possible, but not everything is long term. So anyway, this nigga came through. The work was so severe, honey. It was one time we were at his job, and it was me and Raina. And were you there when he said it?
What?
When he was like, he was just mouthing like, "I love you," like,
I think I was
"I love you." Okay,
there.
so we were at his place of employment, and he was on the clock, and there was just a noticeable moment when the magic itself hit him, to where I was standing. Raina was there with me. We had some other friends there as well. And he came over to me, but not directly within speaking distance to me, but he was just in my vicinity, not really paying attention to me. And it was like he looked at me for a second, he looked back, and he started mouthing like, "I love you," like with this very foreign face, like this strange expression on his face I'll never forget. And it was, I could see the magic itself actually churning in him, churning his mind. But the realty that I was going to give you, this type of magic and working with a goetic king like that, more centered towards like a transaction that you need done, because like in your situation, Raina, you you turned to get out of that situation. It was like a turning point that was coming for you, bitch, and you need that spirit to switch the tracks. My
Uh-huh.
situation was that I was trying to control someone long term, so it did work, but who walked away with the more permanent result? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I think you have to think about that too when you are
That is a
working
good
with these
point.
spirit when you're working with these spirits. It's out, bitch. We're gonna be real out with it, honey, because like ain't shit to lie about. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
but working with the spirit. What can we tell? What can we tell the kids about working with King Paimon?
Um, I can say that he definitely is good when it comes to money.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do also have this other little story I give in that I also used him when somebody dear to me was going through a financial situation
Mm-hmm.
in the courts. Not anything like as far as like going to jail or anything, but like money things like bankruptcy. Okay, so this person, they had to either turn in their car or pay like $3,000. So she didn't want to turn in her car. You know what I'm saying? So she had asked her cousin for the money, but the cousin was acting like she ain't have it. So I was like, you know what, girl? And she came and told me. I was like, and I went behind the scenes, and yes, I contacted Paimon, and and I also used tarot whammy on the girls, okay? And you can do that too. You can use a sigil, and you can also use tarot cards to make yourself focus because I was very determined. Um, this had to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I used his sigil, I used the tarot cards. If I'm not mistaken, I even used a check. And I think I wrote I wrote his whole name, okay? I wrote that man's whole name out. And it was the cousin's husband. You're going to give her that money, okay? You're going to give her that money. So, what ended up happening, and it was so funny, what ended up happening was that, like, the court, they completely, like, wiped it clean. So she didn't even have to pay anything.
Mm.
So Even though I worked it for, but you know what? That man still did lend her money because she ended up going through a situation where like her whatchamacallit, her plumage got clogged or whatever, and she needed a new septic tank, and that cost money, honey. So yeah, she got them 3 stacks to fix that too. Um, so Paimon, he does come through when it comes to money, and
Yeah.
it's like Raina said, he comes for them single situations. It's like for that one hit that you need. You know what I'm saying? He'll change that person's mind, or he'll influence them to do that. But for long term, it probably would have to be like a consistent type of like
Yeah.
pounding
Yeah.
of the person. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay, so I guess my experience with him and what I would, he he has a sass to him. His energy reminds me of Prince.
Mm.
His energy very much
Mm-hmm.
like Prince, will
Mm-hmm.
entertain you, but girl, like, don't get cute kind of
Okay.
situation. She will check you.
She sure
She
will.
will check you. What else can we say? I feel like with her, you kind of have to come at a place like maybe not entirely equal, because obviously the girls can
Yeah.
just really
But
brush you up,
out of
out of
respect. Out of
respect,
respect.
but bitch, still holding your own, like
Yeah.
you're coming to the deal, honey, like the deal is gonna get clocked,
Mm-hmm.
and then you guys determine what's gonna be exchanged, what are you gonna do as a favor in return, if that's even, because bitch, sometimes, honey, like Raina will tell you, honey, she just tell the girls go.
Yeah, and their gift or their offering is them completing the task.
Yes.
That is what they are set out to do. That's why they're here, you know. So yeah. Um, and what else? I feel like with Paimon, with King Paimon, because he does, like when you say king, I would say study him, look him up, read everything that you've heard about him. They say that he comes in with a loud, takes over the entire room, and that he has a very androgynous appeal, like a very beautiful face
Mm-hmm.
with a very, manly body, and he's very adorned with jewels and this sickening crown.
Yeah.
So Paimon is of status. King Paimon is of status. You come to him correct,
Yeah.
and you let him know exactly what it is that you want.
Mm-hmm. No corners are to be cut.
Yeah.
No corners, because you have to stand.
The most important thing is believing in yourself, believing in doing the magic, believing in Paimon, knowing that he's gonna come through. Because your preparatory immersion, you're supposed to do her for like a few days, especially newbies out there. I would suggest 5 days of looking up Paimon, reading on him, feeling his energy, looking at his sigil, calling out to him multiple times a day, feeling that energy. Project your senses out into the room and feel him behind them walls. Feel him, and he will knock. There will be noises. You have
Yeah,
to
they
be.
do.
You
Them
have,
noises
yeah,
be
them
coming
noises.
through.
Paimon be coming through with them noises, okay? And he also comes through with like noises outside, like a horn honking or like an alarm coming off,
Mm-hmm.
going off, things like that. Those right on time, right when you say his name, right when you finish a sentence. You have to pay attention to everything that's going on around you. It's not that you're gonna hear his little voice, in your ear, like yelling at you. No, you have to pay attention to the environment and connect to the environment. Become one with the environment when you're doing these rituals.
Mm-hmm.
You have to connect with the spirit on a psychic level. So when you call out his name, you have to bond with this spirit. You cannot be afraid
Right.
of bonding with Paimon. He requires commitment. He requires a bond. Okay, so you can't come in this scary either. You can't come
No.
scared.
They
Not
don't entertain that. They
they
they will
don't.
not
He won't
entertain.
even fuck with you. He won't
Yeah,
even fuck with you.
they won't.
Don't waste his time. Don't waste no spirit's time.
Yeah, you have to go into the ritual already. I feel like your preparatory immersion period, which should be at least a week, 2 weeks, at least a full week. Day one, day two, you reading up as much as you can, getting familiarized with the sigil. Day 3 and 4 and onward is should be you looking at that sigil and just feeling that, like, don't even get it, even if they, maybe entertain them telepathically by saying hello, thank you for coming,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for the audience. But the full ritual working, like, y'all should already be on a point where you having telepathic conversations in your head. They're coming through with the information, girl. Like, they're giving you some sort of signage, some sort of, like,
Yeah, and you have to pay attention because that's why y'all be like, oh, it don't work because y'all ain't paying attention to the signs. Y'all have not developed your psychic skills. You have not developed your senses, your sixth, your seventh, your eighth fucking senses.
no. And
Yeah,
this, like, goetic spirits are
yeah.
not the play
Y'all
place.
waiting for spirits to manifest and smoke and shit. Y'all waiting for spirits to completely just form in front of you like if this shit is a fucking TV show. And you're gonna be disappointed. I feel like a lot of y'all have issues with evocation because of that. Because y'all are expecting to see some shit that's not gonna happen.
Right.
Hello. Oh, we're back. Yeah, we're back.
Okay.
Sorry, you guys. We were going in. See, that's the spirits.
That's a,
That's a sign. We were going in too hard.
it
Did
was
you
just
see
too
that?
much.
It was too much. The spirits are here. They're always here. We live walks from the cemetery.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, it's real over here. The spirits are active. So, like we were saying, when going in with Paimon, you have got to know what you're doing. Go in with reverence. Go in with respect. You have to go in believing what you're doing, that it's
That
real.
it's real. That you are breaching the matrix. Okay,
Yeah.
because that those spirits exist above and between those planes. You know what I'm saying? So it's no tea for them to just pop up, like,
Yeah.
shut it. Just presence, just energy. It's
It is. It is.
energy.
And when you're doing evocation, you are summoning yourself and calling the universe within yourself. And in the evocation, you are acting as the universe in that evocation, which means that you, as the universe, you can create and manifest anything.
Anything,
So when you
bitch.
call on Paimon, Paimon will manifest
Yeah.
because you are the universe and you are the one who creates anything and everything. So anything you speak of
She
manifests.
manifests.
So if I call on Paimon, Paimon is here because I'm the universe. I create everything.
Yes.
Okay?
That is the proper
That is
evocation.
the proper evocation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, I don't, did we do a video on this? No, we
I
were
don't
going to
think
do a
we have.
video
We've
on
never.
the fact that, like, I personally feel like, look, bitch, we're from the, we're from the streets of magic. Okay? We
Yes,
are from the
yes.
streets of magic. And I feel like people, a lot of times, like, when they're coming to evocations, there's a community of people that know, and they don't like to share. You know what I'm saying? They like a lot of the forums that I go on, because I read a lot, to see, okay, like, what are people saying about this particular spirit? How was their experience? What are they talking about? Feeling, sensing, describing, witnessing, clairvoyantly picking up on. And a lot of times those people, they try to keep the energy from, like, newbie evocators who are trying to learn, or get some sort of understanding of an experience. A lot of
Hmm.
times they're trying to dissuade them.
Yeah, and scare them.
Oh no, and don't get it twisted. Like, approach with caution. Like, we're not saying go in there with your hands up and experience, and you have to be within yourself ready, though, and only you know when you are 100% ready, and you know your motives for working with these spirits. Okay, so if you're coming from a place that it's like you're just trying to see what it is
Hmm.
to, like, get some woo woo or something, like, no, the spirit's gonna laugh at
Yeah,
you and pay you dust.
yeah. And if you go in there fearing with fear, like you're actually scared, but you're doing it. And you know what? But at the same time, that can be okay. But you have to go in there with reverence and respect, even if you're scared. Because when I was evoking my first spirit, Baleo, bitch, I was scared.
Yeah.
I was, and you know what? That added to the reality of it because I was scared. So that makes it real. You know what I'm saying? Like how he impacted me was for me. You know that scared me. I was shook. But I was still riding through, and I'ma still do this motherfucking evocation. I'ma come in this bitch like, you know, like it's like if he was a 15-foot king sitting at the throne, and little old me at 5'11", I'm just walking up to him like, sir, can you, please, that's how,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
You
saying?
cannot.
That's how I came to him because I did my preparatory immersion, and Baleo he's no joke, okay? So come like that also to King Paimon.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Not scared, but in reverence and respect, because that is a king, okay? That is an entity that has never been human, that was never born, that has been existing since the beginning of time. So yeah. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think we hit it. We hit it. I think
Yes, and stay tuned because we will be doing a reading soon.
Yeah, we have the market already open for readings. Please come through and get
Yes,
your
get
readings.
your readings, honey.
Yeah, because
The
if you ain't checked out that reading that we did on Sunday for the kids,
yes.
girl, I don't know who, but yeah, them spirits was coming through, honey, telling you that what
Getting
there's
you
a
girls
snake in
together.
in your grass.
Okay.
There's so much tea that is spilled with these cards, okay, in them readings. Both of us on the
On the
phone.
phone. And that was a 10 card reading. And we give the girls 20. Okay?
Yeah.
So imagine that was a
Imagine
little taste. That was a
all the
half.
tea you're gonna get over here.
So yeah.
We do also offer spell work. There is a consultation process that must go down. We will leave our contact, our email information
In
in
the
the
description
description box.
box.
And
Yes.
yeah, we hope you guys got some perspective, learned a little bit, um, feel like you can approach your evocating process with a little bit more confidence and understanding
Mm-hmm.
on how to get closer with these spirits. And that was just our story time on King Paimon.
Bye.